In this era of reboots and live-action remakes, can Disney do no harm? Well, Beauty and the Beast is the latest live-action adaptation of another Disney animated classic, with Emma Watson starring as the iconic Belle. We all know the story of Beauty and the Beast, but I, just like everyone else, wanted to see if they could pull off a film as fantastical as this without screwing it up. Beauty and the Beast means a lot to me. It's one of my favorite Disney animated films, one of my favorite stage musicals, and one of my favorite productions that I've ever acted in. Even though I do have an emotional attachment to previous iterations, I went into this trying to judge it solely on what they presented before me. I'll talk about how this film stands against the previous animation, as well as the stage production, but first, let's just get into the film on its own. First off, the casting was almost flawless. The heart and soul of Beauty and the Beast are the characters, so I'm going to focus a lot on that. I do have my reservations against some of the characters, but overall, everyone did a great job and kept me fully entertained. Emma Watson as Belle was great acting and character-wise. She possesses all the qualities that you've come to expect: kind, gentle, smart, but she actually has a lot more edge and sass than I've seen in previous Belle portrayals, which I thought was a nice touch. Now, I can't agree that Emma Watson is the perfect Belle. She's a great one, but she's definitely not perfect in my opinion. My issue was her singing. Now, she isn't a bad singer. She has a very clear and pretty and passable voice whenever she's singing those iconic songs. But in my opinion, I felt like her voice lacked that oomph, that grain of the voice that impacts you emotionally after each note. I just never felt that passion and that longing that I feel whenever I listen to the original or the stage versions. Doesn't sound bad, but doesn't feel good. Dan Stevens as the Beast was great in this, and his chemistry with Emma Watson was honestly heartwarming. And his singing? Spot on. The CGI for the Beast is great despite it noticeably being CGI, but I got over that pretty quick. The Beast had a lot more subtle humor and mannerisms that I wasn't expecting that really made me invest in his character even more. Just a lot of great touches all around. Luke Evans as Gaston knocked it out of the park. I didn't know that this man could sing, but good lord, does he have a voice. To be completely honest, I was a little disappointed that they didn't cast Hugh Jackman as Gaston because he's played him on stage before. But I felt that Luke Evans truly encompassed that classic brawny character. It's hard because you're supposed to hate Gaston because of how undesirable and disgusting of a human being that he is. But Luke Evans' portrayal is just such a major highlight of the film. And to add on to that, his chemistry with Josh Gad as LeFou was fantastic. I am a huge fan of Josh Gad from his previous comedies, but mainly from his work as Elder Cunningham in the Book of Mormon. But the moment that I found out that Josh Gad was cast as LeFou, I knew that they made the perfect choice. LeFou was by far my favorite character in this film, and they made him a lot more human and less of a set piece than the original, which I appreciated, and it actually made him a lot less annoying. A lot of the best quips and subtle jokes come from LeFou, and Josh Gad executes the character to a T. I especially love how they gave LeFou an internal moral dilemma that shows him questioning his relationship with Gaston and which side he's on. Those were some of the great little additional details that helped set this film apart and flesh out some of the things that the original didn't bother with. Sir Ian McKellen as Cogsworth was great, but I felt like they cut out a lot of his lines and scenes for whatever reason. I just felt like I didn't get enough of him. Ewan McGregor as Lumiere, I'm conflicted about. I felt like he did a good job, but I found his French accent to be a little inconsistent and silly at first. Lumiere, just like in the original, is the best animated character in this film, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that there was probably a better choice out there for the character. His singing in Be Our Guest is pretty wonky, which is a shame because it's such an iconic song, especially in the stage production. But at least the overall production design surrounding the song was great. McGregor did a fine job, but I feel like someone like Sacha Baron Cohen could have really taken this character to new heights. Kevin Kline's Maurice is probably the biggest deviation in character from the original film. Instead of being portrayed as crazy, eccentric, and wacky, he's misunderstood, damaged, and grounded. We don't see him building crazy contraptions or anything like that, but he's given a lot more backstory and depth that fills in a lot of the questions left unanswered in the original film, such as what happened to Belle's mom. I actually loved this portrayal of Maurice, but I felt like this change of character didn't justify his relationship with Gaston and the rest of the villagers as much as the original did. In the original, he's seen as crazy and overbearing, and for that reason, no one can ever take him seriously, especially when he comes running home screaming about a beast. But here, he never really does anything to lose that trust and sympathy from the people, and thus negates the whole reason for Gaston calling upon Monsieur D'Arc to take him to the insane asylum. As for the rest of the characters, Mrs. Potts, Chip, Cadenza, Plumette, even though they should have kept it as Babette, were all great. The production design for this film as a whole is stunning. The sets, the lighting, the practicals, the costumes are all gorgeous and Oscar-worthy. This is a beautifully shot and directed film that does a great job at balancing realism with that classic Disney color palette. The castle is equal parts warm and magical as it is cold, dark, and lonely. This is easily the best production so far this year. Now, I always encourage filmmakers to take creative liberties whenever they're remaking or adapting an original work for a new audience if it adds to the overall product and if the original essence isn't lost. And I feel like most of those changes made in this movie are done very well. The backstory behind Belle's mother was a great addition, the additional characterization for Maurice, LeFou, and even the Enchantress was great, and that brief scene of all of the characters fully losing their humanity was heartbreaking. However, I did not completely agree with all of the new additions to the music. A lot of new music was written for this film, and I don't really know why, specifically the Beast solo. Even though the song is fine and the Beast can sing very well, it honestly felt like a knockoff of the incredible song If I Can't Love Her from the Broadway version. If they really wanted the Beast to have his own solo, then they should have just added in the Broadway version rather than writing a new song that really didn't match the feel of Beauty and the Beast to me. They also excluded the song Human Again, which, granted, wasn't in the original film until they added it in the remastered version, but it would have given us another moment to see all of the objects sing and dance and add to their struggle. Now, I know many people aren't fans of musicals, and especially movie musicals, but just as the most recent version of Les Mis, Sweeney Todd, and even La La Land have shown, they can be done extremely well. This film, for me, felt like it couldn't decide whether it was trying to be a movie with music or a movie musical, if that makes sense. Many of the songs are significantly slower in pace and rhythm than the original, which hindered the overall excitement and emotion within the performance. There's this apparent clash of styles going on between musical numbers. For example, the song Gaston, which was done very well, is performed far more like a traditional stage performance, while the song Be Our Guest is very clearly taking advantage of the entire cinematic apparatus. Both are done great in their own right, but when you're trying to create a film with a cohesive tone and execution, they don't really mix. And this goes for several songs and even scenes throughout the film. Quick side note, there was a lot of controversy over the fact that LeFou was supposedly gay in this film and that there was going to be a gay kiss. No. It's so insignificant and doesn't affect his character, performance, or the film as a whole. Like, you really have to look for it, and it's so small, it's really nothing. In fact, the first nod to the LGBT community is far more noticeable than whatever LeFou does, and it's actually hilarious. But hey, people are always going to be upset over something. As a whole, I did really enjoy this film. I can't say I enjoyed it more than the original or a really great stage production, but as a standalone film, it worked. It made me laugh and sad and nostalgic, but most importantly, it made me feel that Disney magic one more time. For all these reasons, I'm going to give Beauty and the Beast an 8 out of 10. So Beauty and the Beast, have you seen it? Let me know what you thought about it in the comments section below. And while you're at it, let me know which Disney live-action remake you're most excited for. To be completely honest, I'm going to go with The Lion King. That's not even one of my favorite movies, but once they announce that Donald Glover, my boy Childish Gambino, is Simba, it's going to be good. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It truly does mean a lot. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like. And if you want to stick around and watch some more movie reviews, hey, hit subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.